Aloha Kohala. It is 3 o'clock here on, is that May 3rd? Is that 3/3, 2023?
It is.
No, 5/3.
5/3, 2023.
Yeah, you're
Time
listening
is flying.
to, KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and
Michalannalove.
Yeah, how are you today, dear? I'm loving your look today.
I'm
You
well,
got the
thank
amber
you.
color.
Yeah, kind of the greens, the ambers, the tiger eye kind of looks. Brown.
And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is quite beautiful out today.
It is. It is. So what's alive in you today?
Well, we had talking about sound.
Yes.
At some point. Does that feel alive for you?
Like as in
moment?
sound and sound healing, or?
Well, so what was alive for me and what even came up this morning in conversation with my sweetie, we were talking about sound. We were talking about resonance and tone and things like that. And just a reminder, oftentimes I'm reminding people about, the ha. We talk about the ha a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Ha was the ha in the breath. Mm-hmm. And so the importance to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back to the breath, something as simple as the breath and as simple as your tone and resonance of just that
Yeah.
So sometimes we overthink things. Sometimes we make things difficult and we make things, we go all over the place. And that actually, in another way, is a metaphor for what we're doing when we talk about fragmenting and all these other things.
Yeah.
So how can we bring ourselves back quickly? Just come back to our breath and remember to be with our breath, which is really what we're saying when we say aloha. Mm-hmm. We're saying I'm willing to be with the breath of life, and then therefore breathe with you. Mm-hmm. And breathe together the breath of life. So this one simple greeting becomes something way more if we actually put our heartfelt intention into the word that we're speaking, into the tone that we're speaking, into this resonance, that aloha. And if there's anyone out there, any native Hawaiian speakers who love to chime in here, love to have you.
Yeah. You can call us at 808-884-5657. Yeah, anybody can.
Yes, but I specifically, if you are a native speaker of this language, you have a direct connection to that resonance since, you speak it all the time. Mm-hmm. I use this word all the time, too, for 25 years, but I didn't learn it directly from growing up here. Mm-hmm. I've learned things in other ways, right? So I honor the traditions and the resonance of where things come from and where they've been handed down to. I think it's really important that we validate those things because they're like lineages that offer us actually a greater map to find more information. If we're not really sure how things came about or the lineages of it, it's difficult to know how to move forward. Sometimes we have to know our past in order to know our future. So that the resonance of that language of Hawaiian, right? We're talking about Hawaiian here, aloha, but it works the same. Eila and I both I shared a book with Eila called Prayers for the Cosmos. Mm-hmm. And it's written by a Sufi philosopher, educator, linguist. Let's see, and his name is, I actually forget because that's not as important to me. Neil Douglas Klotz is his name. Prayers of the Cosmos. It's reflections on the original meaning of Jesus' words is what he's named this book. He has studied the language of Aramaic, which is the language that Jesus Christ would have spoken at the time. Hebrew was the language that was written in the temples at the time. So Aramaic, many of the things we've received, if you go to English, right? We haven't received them until way later after many, many, many translations. English itself wasn't really put into play until like the 1400s, around Da Vinci's time, when there was kind of a large onset. That's when the Bible, the King James Bible and all that transpired. Shakespeare was doing plays out in the world, and that's kind of like our multimedia Facebook. Shakespeare was doing plays in English.
Yeah.
Which shifted this new language to the new world language, English.
Somehow that made it through, right?
At that time,
Yeah.
it was a whole kind of a time period that happened. But at any rate, it was more of the language itself, which if you're interested in this, it's a whole study, is quite mathematical. It's a contrived language, English, and it doesn't have what these languages that we're talking about have, Aramaic, Hebrew, Hawaiian, which is inherent in the language is a sound of resonance.
Right. So these nuanced sounds are not, we don't speak them as we're speaking our English language every day, but in some of the other languages, that was there.
Or even, and even like, I'm going to give you an example. So this is really cool.
Yeah.
So this book. I'm going to reference the book so that we can just have a reference point because it's just nice to do. So this gentleman, he takes apart the Lord's Prayer, which is in English, right? Which was translated, I believe, from the Greek and maybe even the Hebrew originally. But this is taking it back to Aramaic, which would be what if you were sitting around listening to Jesus speak, let's say, and again,
If you were hanging out in the
those
circle
days.
of Jesus,
Yeah, and you're listening to
and you
the
were
word.
sitting under the tree, and there he was on his stump talking.
Yeah, he would be talking in Aramaic.
It might sound more, although it would be in Aramaic, the interpretation more direct with this person who did all this research. The interpretation would sound a bit more like what you're going to say.
Yeah. So first, so the resonance of the words, the first word in Aramaic, what we know as "Our Father which art in heaven." Okay, if you were saying that in Aramaic, Abun Devash Shemaya, Abun Devash Shemaya. Say it one more time. Abun Devash Shemaya. So even in that, you can hear a lot of sound, a lot of resonance in the sound, right? Mm-hmm. You almost feel something as you're saying it. So in their language, what we've done in English is we separate things. Like think about how we separate church and state. Those are the politics. This is this. We categorize. Everything's got a label, a category. We separate everything out. In this language, it's not separated. So when you're saying boon, the sound is in the native speaker's knowingness. The speaker already knows means the absolute. That all that is inherent in all that I'm doing at all times. That absolute. So and then the bois has this whole other. The abu is the roots of the divine parent, like you're the emanating from something greater than yourself. Okay, and the ooh, so each of these sounds translates out. So now if you think about this already, of a sound, now you're putting sounds with deep meanings together to create chains of thought that's not how English really works, right? So then ooh is the spirit, the Holy Spirit, the spirit that emanates, that which
Well,
radiates
isn't
from
all
the self.
spirit kind of holy? I mean, really, when you
yes.
think we are all connected and we are all
But what
of
we
spirit.
I just mean quote unquote.
Yeah,
Ooh can be quote unquote the Holy Spirit.
right.
Quote unquote spirit. It's just a way. It is inherent. That's what this gentleman is saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm kind of giving you a little feedback here from the book to give us a greater platform to jump from. So he's talking about that sound, ooh, being inherent with that feeling. So now when we start thinking about that, right, now Shem is light, refractions of light, sound, vibration, Shem. When we're saying that resonance, Shem, we're saying all that. Light, resonance, vibration, like Shem. Right? Okay, so that already gets a little bit greater. Then the Aya also has, let's see, and that was like the universal. It's kind of like all that is, the universal energy of God, the vibration of the oneness. So what we translate into our Father who art in heaven could mean many things if you understand that resonance of what each of those words mean, right? And so this gentleman translates quite a few different options One might be radiant one, you shine within us, outside us. Even darkness shines when we remember. That's a possibility. O birther, father, mother of the universe, you create all that moves in light. So
There's something about that is so much. It has a certain artistic quality to it, where the English version is kind of cut and dry. There's not much room for negotiation in it, where this feels much more. You know what it's saying, and yet there's so many ways to say it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it opens
Not so
up
literal.
a part of exactly.
Yeah.
It's not so literal. Like, is it red or is it black?
Like very much in my head. The other one is
Yes,
more like
feeling.
feeling it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you start to feel into the resonance of what you're saying to me. I'm not getting stuck on the words.
Right.
The devil's in the details.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of like,
Yeah.
what is it feeling? You know, we even say sometimes we're like, some people say, well, I'm not angry, but your energy feels angry. Or I'm not frustrated, but your energy feels frustrated. Or I'm
Yeah.
not sad, but my energy feels sad. What's the feeling? We're tuning more into a resonance. So this is huge when you think about how you are thinking each day. We're thinking, most of us are thinking in English, right? So you're thinking in more of a separated state. We're labeling, we're connecting this way.
Yeah.
So if you start to wash into a resonance of a feeling, like, how does the aloha start there? Like, you know, okay, I'm just going to meditate on aloha, being with the breath and those sounds. Aloha. We breathe into it differently. Feel into it for a while. Take a half an hour and feel into your breath. Be with the sounds. Do it while you're working on your field. Do it while you're doing something else. You're always breathing, right? So you get to play with your breath, the resonance, the sound. You're moving through your breath. So and why? Because actually the most creative technology we have is this. This, our mouth. This is infinite creative technology. We are literally commanding, intoning, and vibrating life into form, into resonance, into existence by that which we put heartfelt intention and resonance into the vibratory field and matrix that we are existing within.
Well, also, as you're talking just about the word of aloha, I've been living here in Aloha land for 15 years. And the longer I'm here, the deeper the meaning or the feeling that word brings. Like maybe when I first came here, it just was hello and goodbye, and that's all it really meant to me. But as I've learned about it over the years, and I've shared the idea of sharing aloha and sharing energy with other people, especially Native Hawaiians who use it, and how they say it and how they greet, and it has a deeper meaning. And I can't think that hello has any deeper meaning that I've been using for 62 years. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
if you really
it's
broke
just
that word down, you're going hell.
Yeah, well,
That
that's
doesn't
nice.
actually seem like
All
a
right,
great
well,
thing to
let's
say.
even go to
Right?
hi even.
Hi sounds a little better. At least
Hi
I say
sounds hi. Yeah.
I mean, but hell. Oh,
Yeah.
if we think about, that's a good example
Yeah.
of something we all might say, but not really think about. Well, we also use hell as a framework we use that word to describe someplace really horrible.
Yeah,
So that doesn't seem like a good greeting.
that's not the most loving greeting.
Right?
Yeah.
And back to the aloha, just a little shout out to North Kohala, and I too have had the beautiful journey of being here since 1998, and I want to just honor for a moment. She came into my field, Kumu, Raylene, Lancaster, rest in peace, and all of my aunties, Auntie Randy, Auntie Hope, Auntie Sherry, Auntie Sharon, Auntie Carol, so many aunties who have shared with me, and tutus, who helped me understand these concepts and who sat with me when I was very kolohe and very not patient at all and intense. And I know many people think she's so intense. I'm not as intense anymore. But yeah, the impatience, just because, I'm hungry. I was hungry.
You want to know.
I want to know.
I
want to know. But I am so grateful for all of that input. And Hawaii has taught me so much of all that I share here has been taught to me by this land, by the mother, the great mother. And really she's with us all the time. Tutu Pele is part of the great mother, that all of the mother that is here for us at all times, and that reaching into her and learning from her, humbling ourselves to the land, giving to the land, being in right harmony with the land, and allowing ourselves to be fed from her as we nurture her. Our mother will take care of us. And that's one of the most important things I've learned, and long ago when I came here, I did kind of stop reading the books, and I had been studying voraciously of religious texts at that point. And I turned that off and just got into the land and into the water and got humbled by the surf and hurt and, shed blood and, face myself and face your fears.
Yeah.
And, it is, the elements are here to help us understand who we really are. We are the infinite one flowing through each and every one of us. And if we breathe into that essence and allow our great mother to share with us as we feel into life, and we come from this holistic approach, it's just infinitely rewarding and nurturing.
So the other day, you saw my post on Facebook that I went up to the Mauna. I have not been up to Mauna Kea since the eruption. I didn't go up to Mauna Kea. I just went to Saddle Road for that. And I was very called to that. And I think part of it is that I experience more energy in the mountains than I do anywhere else. So the other day, I just felt like it was a day to do that. And I drove up to Waimea, and then I was like, "Do you sure you want to go?" "Yeah, you sure you want to go?" "Okay, go all the way." And I went to the visitor center, which I hadn't been to in years. And I went behind where they have a very small walk among the silver sword plants, which existed there. And as I was walking, I just started to feel so much love and energy coming from the mountain. And I don't know that I've had that experience here, if at all, in a very long time. And it was just, I wrote down humble grace because those were the words that came to me, and I continuously said thank you. I didn't even know what I was saying. I was saying thank you because I was just in something that was kind of magical.
Well, you're thanking your mama. It is the mother, and that is the mother. What's so beautiful, Eila, is that you are in a place in your journey where you're feeling into that's alive for you. When you said that wasn't something that was you.
I don't know if I felt it all the years that I was plowing and planting, and
right.
I mean, I felt a beautiful connection to the earth, but this reminded me of times I'd been in Sedona where there are very strong vortex energies.
Yes.
And it was just like that, only it was here and it was right there. And I'm like, you don't have to go anywhere. It's right here for you. And you can feel it now. Maybe you couldn't have felt it 10 years ago when you were there before. It was there, but maybe you just weren't. I felt a call to the mountain, but never did I feel this kind of an experience.
Ooh, I see some good stuff here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, she called
it was
you
delicious.
because it's also you are reframing your relationship to the land and seeing the magic that can be in it, that it's not laborious and just draining and hard work, but that she actually gives to us as we play with her. Not that we have to toil in her fields like we assumed, like we've been told we have to toil all the days of our life.
Yeah.
That's not actually it. We get to celebrate life by joining in with life. Like I've been having that experience in this land. I mean, I kind of toiled and earlier. Learning is hard, right? You're still learning. I don't know what anything is.
Yeah.
But this time around, this last few years, I've just been really enjoying playing with all the energy of the plants and like, okay, who wants to be where? What are you guys thinking? And everyone is like talking to you and you let them. All the plants are telling you what they want and they're working with you. And there's the energies of the birds and the bugs and the worms and just everyone is there doing their thing. And it's this like symphony, that's this creative process that you're just part of, and it's a whole different experience than one of toil. And it actually, like, everything will help you. It's like Snow White. I mean, but it's not like the birds aren't carrying my twigs, but I feel like sometimes when I'm in the flow, that they might, and that I'm flowing like that. I feel so effortless. Like everything feels like whistle while you work. Ooh. and I am often whistling while I work, and I feel so elated that, I like one time, for instance, I was clearing. I had on like a skirt like this. Like a small, like not a lot of, my skin, my legs were fully open, my arms are open. I didn't have a long shirt, long pants, and I was cutting down like this whole part of this forest, and a lot of Christmas berry. And I had on gloves, but I was cutting with my little saw, and I was whistling. And I told everyone, we talked, like the land and I talked about it, like what's it going to look like?
Yeah.
And this is going to be beautiful. Okay, so everyone's in alignment. And I felt like the tree was helping me, and I cleared everything, like a whole big area. And I had not one scratch from anything, like no bramble, nothing. And I thought, thank you. Like, this is so fun. Everybody's helping. We're having I felt like I'm 6. I mean, I feel like I'm 6 and 7 years old some days, just having so much fun playing with the earth, with our mother, with all the beauty and all the magic. So that's what we all get to do if we want, is remember her. And we kind of start with starting with the breath, right? Wait a minute, what have I been going and giving all my energy to? Let me just bring it back to the breath. Aloha, right?
One of the, as you're talking about there's this kind of laborious way of being with the land, and there's more playful ways to be with the land. Somebody said to me, did you go for a lot of hike? Like, I like to hike. I love to take long walks. Did you do that while you were up there? And I was like, I didn't, because I that wasn't what I was called to do. I walked around. I admired these beautiful, unusual plants. I looked at the landscape. I took a whole bunch of pictures, and I sat I asked if I could sit on the earth, and she said yes, I could sit there. I asked if I could lay down. Yes, you could lay down. I wasn't particularly tired, but it kind of showed me, I think sometimes as humans in our culture, it's about doing. And I wasn't doing anything. I was being with the earth. And sometimes we can do that, and we're planting plants, and we're doing and being kind of together. And sometimes it really is just sitting in the grass or sitting there and just breathing it all in and noticing your breath in this place and observing what you see and what you hear. Like, all of my senses were heightened as I just sat there. And then I closed my eyes, and then more senses got heightened when I wasn't looking. So I think it's really valuable for us to step away from the doing of our lives sometimes, to enjoy the beingness and the breath, and honoring that, and honoring with the earth, or just with ourselves and our own spirit. Yes.
Absolutely. And I think what you said was, you got to this really great thing, the doing and the being. I think we're coming into this place where that's merging into unity, realizing that our beingness, it's not really that we have to do anything ever in that way, in the way that we've thought about it. Because it's like this toil versus play.
Yeah.
The toil energy feels like, I got to do that.
Yeah.
Got to get that done.
Yeah, my list.
The list,
yeah.
And how you working hard, you're making money, that mentality. My grandfather, you making money, kid, as long as you're making money, well, that's good. You're working hard, good on you. You know, a lot of us have that kind of, the American dream programming, right?
Yeah, and it comes from the 50s and the 60s
Yeah.
and the 70s and what was going on in the culture and all that.
No judgment. It's just where many
observing,
of us have come
yes.
from. So we look at that and then we go, oh, we can open that up and we can come into this whole other time where we can feel into our reality. We can feel into more expansiveness and we can come into more balance, or we can, in our beingness, if we're being one with our breath, then we're actually still in beingness as I am executing something or engaging, but my presence isn't changing. I'm still in presence, being here now, and now you're being led, oh, well, now this is happening. Oh, that's coming in. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Oh, let's look at this. We're feeling and we're exploring, and now we're kind of in the river of energy that's constantly moving, spiraling, and connecting. We kind of are flowing with that. And like you expressed, now you're seeing and feeling the experience of the mother when you go to the Mauna, and feeling like, wow, this is what's really going on, and we can all connect together, and oh, this is cool. And like this whole experience can be something different than what we may have thought before if we allow ourselves to deepen into the feeling, into the resonance of our words. And you brought up another great exercise, which really helps us deepen. And this has helped me a lot over many years. I would practice this since I was like in my early 20s. Wherever I go, what you just said, sit. And it doesn't matter where you are. Sit for 10 minutes and just do what you did. Listen for every sound. Even if you're in the subway in the New York City, pick out all the sounds. Hear everything. Hear it all. Feel it, hear it, experience it just through sound while you breathe. And listen. Just listen. And I was doing this yesterday, listening to the birds. I have so many birds
Me too.
at my house, and I was just in so much gratitude for this, and I was thinking about how blessed I am to know that I could listen and sit here.
Yeah.
That I can just sit here and experience this, and I wanted to share it because I thought, wow, so many people probably don't just sit and listen. They're not thinking to do that. They're busy. They're rushing here, rushing there. But if you take time to sit and listen, it changes your entire countenance. It drops you into the moment, into that reminder that you're part of all of this. It's within you. It's one thing. We're in a field of this unity within this incredible matricy that we're starting to understand is a multidimensional field, right? That a lot of physicists and people are finally starting to open that up so people can understand that it is science in essence. Science meets spirit. It's all one thing. Here we are, and we have the ability to move and change and navigate and open our reality by understanding we are co-creators creating our vibrational reality. Sound, light, tone, resonance.
Well, and as you're talking about the birds, I've been really observing the birds, because when we moved to where we are living 15 or 14 years ago, there was nothing. There was just grass, right? And the first night we slept there, woke up in the morning to nothing. Like there was no sound outside. And so I have a deep appreciation for the birds, just having birds around and having more critters around. But this year in particular, I'm hearing sounds of birds that I've never heard before. Now, were they there and I didn't hear them? Or are they coming and I'm being observant and I keep, like you, I have to stop. Like I take the dog for a walk outside and I hear the birds and I'm like, all right, put the dog away and just go out there and just stand there. I'll just stand outside and listen to these bird songs that seem just so complex and beautiful, and I'm like, oh, thank you. That's so awesome. I wonder what kind of bird you are.
Those might be myna birds, because actually I'm finding myna birds at my place, and my uncle and I were talking about this. That he's saying he thinks it's an El Nino year, and so
their songs different.
Well, mina birds don't usually come over here. They're like in a different spot. So like they're flying to different areas.
Yeah.
So 2 things though for you. One, you did build a forest. You planted a forest, and so you have created a nurturing
There's a
place
habitat for them.
and a habitat for birds. So yes, they've come, but those other ones that I think you might be thinking of this particular year, I have also noticed. And like the mina birds are up at my place. I see them, and I see them talking. And they're like talking, and they do like they're like the classic,
Beautiful,
like the classic Tiny Toons, Bugs Bunny, that one. They actually do that sound.
Yeah. It's pretty. Anyway, it's lovely to take a moment and be observant in your environment. And I've done this too in city environments. It's not just about being out here.
Anywhere.
Like you said, you could be in the subway, and just I see things differently. And I think the more that we open ourselves up to that, we will see and experience things that may have been there all along, but we just didn't get it. We didn't see it. We didn't hear it. We didn't know it.
So in essence, you're changing angles. Change your perspective, change your perception, change angles often. Like every day, challenge yourself to a new perspective. Give your brain, your mind, your spirit, your energy something to kind of, well, what if it's like this? What if it's not like that? What if it's like this instead? Let me look at it from a different viewpoint, a different angle. Another fun one to do, I love doing, I'm not that tall. Okay, I have a very tall personality, you might, but I am not that tall. So I like to stand on a chair sometimes and be like, wow, it's a whole new world from up here. Holy cow. And then you're like, and my shelf needs to be cleaned. But it gives you a different perspective. What is someone that's living at this height seeing? Like your reality is really different than mine. You're much taller than me.
Day to day, yes.
Yeah. On a day-to-day level.
Yeah.
Like just what you see in your viewplane.
Right.
Just that alone. I mean, that's just
true. I've thought of that.
interesting.
I've thought about that when I see someone who's maybe 7 feet tall or someone who's 4'11".
Yeah.
I'm like, boy, their whole view of everything is different than mine.
Yeah. Imagine a dog. What are they seeing?
Yeah.
It's a whole other viewpoint. Like you crawl down on the grass sometimes. I've done that where you just go, like, this is what it's like down here.
Yeah.
Imagine walking around the world like this. It's just to change your perspective. It also gives you a little gratitude because you're like, well, now I'm really grateful I'm up here.
I can stand up. Yeah.
Right? I can stand up. I have choice, right?
Yeah.
So empowering yourself to be grateful and understanding, again, your vehicle, your avatar, all the different angles, the different ways. And so the more you expand, the more you give yourself things to open the breath, the sound, the music, you're making more connections in the brain is what we're ultimately doing, which is bringing more polarity. We're balancing the polarity in our beingness, the alpha omega, the divine masculine feminine. There's lots of ways to frame that, but we're really in essence creating balance or and harmonic balance in this vessel as we understand how the energy flows through it and that we're moving actually in a system that has a vibratory resonance because it works as a toroidal field in essence. And if you're not sure what that is, so much great information and way too much for me to tell you here, and it's way too complicated. But some very cool people. You might want to check out Mark Rodin, Nassim Haramein. He's got a lot of stuff. It really goes on Tesla and the kind of the information from all those times, 369, getting into mathematics and how this grid work is kind of operating so that you understand kind of more of the science. If you're interested in the scientific parts of that, that's a really fun thing to look up here. I have a reference I can give you. Yeah, Marco Rodin, Marko, and then last name Rodin, and then Nassim Haramein, who lived in Big Island. A lot of you might know Nassim. He's been around. He used to be here. Done some really amazing experiments. He's a metaphysical physicist who's just he's reworked Albert Einstein's theories and come up with. He's the one who really just was like Mark Rodin, and you got the single toroid situation going, but let me enhance you. It's actually a double toroid. It's actually a double toroidal field because I worked it out. So he's this brilliant person. And there's all these mapping. I mean, it gets into math, it gets into graphs, it gets into what are we in? A matricy of information. What do we used to think was important? This gets back to fundamental learning. We're just talking about sound, light, like what's important, numbers, math. So in the days of, Aristotle, Plato, those guys, it was about deeper learning. Philosophy was based, on our faith. Philomath, the love of learning. And Plato, those guys. So mathema, in terms of education, included arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and music. So those become kind of our base building blocks for really knowing the derivatives of everything. And this is I have two cool definitions I just pulled up to share with you that are kind of interesting. This is Da Vinci on certainty. There is no certainty where one cannot apply any of the mathematical sciences. Universal certainty, divine human unity, and co-creativity is established by math. The road to finding oneself, including your highest qualities and greatest creative tales, is paved by mystery school math engaging the matrix. Interesting choice of words. No, it's not just a movie. This is saying, what's a matrix? Well, he goes on to say that matrix, something, this is Webster's dictionary, okay, this definition. Something from within or from something else originates. A rectangular array of numbers, algebraic symbols, or mathematical functions. Matrices play intimate roles in every aspect of life. The word is found several times in the Bible. So this was, I found this information from another gentleman that I'm forgetting his name right this second, but I actually looked these up, and they are in the Bible. This word is in the Bible, with quotes around the matrix and those within it. It's quite interesting. Just if you're interested, that's Exodus 13:12 through 15, Exodus 34:19, Numbers 3:12, and Numbers 18:15. I thought it was interesting. So you could check that out if you want and further your study on any of those things. It gets quite interesting as you dive down the rabbit hole. But in essence, you don't have to go that route. In essence, it's really about our foundation of love coming into our unified field of living in a balanced harmony of resonating the frequencies of love. So they're just breaking down the solfeggio harmonics in many ways and how that works, which is things kind of we've just touched on in the past. 528 hertz, for instance, frequency of love. They've done a lot of metaphysical study showing how this works and how it's lifting the vibration of the field. As you lift your vibration, you see things change in your reality.
Well, you finished that sentence with just what I was going to say earlier, which is, I think sometimes the ability to see and hear things that we haven't seen and heard before is because our frequency, our vibration is shifting, and we're opening into new fields to experience new things. And that's pretty exciting. And we've talked a lot about gratitude as a higher vibrational experience, that it brings us up, versus shame, which keeps us way down there at the bottom. And the more we express gratitude, look for gratitude, be grateful for whatever we're experiencing in our lives, the more one of the ways that we can raise our frequency. And I do feel like I'm starting to experience things that may have been there before, but I wasn't. It's interdimensional, right?
Yes.
It's like I'm shifting into a different dimension that I can experience things that they were there. It's just I wasn't at the right frequency to experience it. And so that gets me excited and motivated to do my work.
It is really exciting. It's super exciting.
Yeah.
Eila. So yay. I'm excited for you. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm
and for
excited
everybody.
all of us.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm experiencing the same thing in my
In your
vibrational
way.
reality and
Yeah.
in my movie story, because we're all in our own movie. There's no right way. There's no, perfect. Everyone's in their river movie, and it's all great. We're just reflecting with each other about one thing. And,
Yeah.
which is so cool.
Yeah.
And, this, what you're saying, I'm honestly in awe a lot during my day, because I'm working with people and I'm traveling in these dimensional fields, and it's really quite awe-inspiring. And I find myself in places. So to give you a little parameter of like, you really are experiencing other realities right now. So I might work. I had a client this week where I'm literally going somewhere and pulling. When I get to, like, I'm in your body part, okay, but then we go there, and it takes me to a very different life somewhere else, where you have a sword in you, and then now we're pulling that sword out, and now we're removing, like holds and restrictions, and we're healing something there that maybe got inset, and once you heal it there, and we take that home, and basically that lifetime is basically canceling out, like. It's going back
been cleared
to the compost, to the tree of life. Take that back. So all your own energy is now here instead of there, because you are experiencing all these different realities at once. So it is affecting you because your DNA, like everything's connected through the DNA.
Yeah, we might not be conscious of those other lifetimes that we
Correct.
have or have not yet experienced, but that doesn't mean that they're not somehow
They're held
part of us.
inside of your energetics,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's in the DNA as we're resonating. And it's like, that's like the code of your soul, right? The code of your makeup here. It's like if you were going to quantify something, that's how you would quantify it, right?
Yeah.
And so that is holy. It's holy. Your DNA is a holy thing. So that's like a mapping. And so you're literally vibrating your reality upwards by understanding that you are resonating at all times in frequencies based on what you give power to, what you don't give power to, how you're perceiving things, what you're ingesting, what you're hooking into. All of that's happening all the time. And hence, here we are, multidimensional beings, creating our reality, because we don't realize we're having these other experiences all the time, that sometimes we get bombarded. But if we were willing to sit and be quiet, you might reach into a feeling that you hadn't seen before. Like Eila was expressing, the more you sit, the more you're like, oh, wait, now I'm noticing stuff I wasn't able to see before. And just like what you're saying, like yesterday, a client where we're doing a massive amount of hardware release, and the joy in that is this entire layer is releasing because you've done the work for it to release and for me to even see it. I wouldn't see it until you're ready.
Right.
I can only see what you're willing to where you are. I mean, it's just your journey. I'm just helping. So it's like whatever you've been working on is up for like, okay, well, we can get it because, well, you must be working on this, huh? You've been like going, I'm worthy, I'm good enough. You're like, okay, I'm seeing it. We're pulling this stuff right off. Okay, say it right now and claim it. Okay, that's done. Let's pull that off. Let's close out this entire lifetime. Let's remove that entire life, zero it out, ho'oponopono, which again is, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. 3 times. Everything 3 to 5 times is fabulous. And activating that in, zeroing it out, and bringing yourself back to that breath, to your aloha, being in the love, the breath of breathing infinite life force together, in the spirit of being held by our infinite mother, knowing we are cared for and nurtured in each and every moment, having exactly what we need.
Let's take a station break a little later than usual, and we'll come right back with Intuitive Talk Story. Let's see if I can get that to work. Come on. There it goes.
Michal, Anna.
And I was just sharing with you about, I got a phone call from one of our listeners, Blake, who is I think he thinks he's the #1 KNKR listener. He may be. He does listen a lot.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you, Blake. And he calls in a lot and appreciate the support. And he was remembering that some years ago, like in 2007, he was involved in some art project, and they were talking about that it was the beginning of a Venus transit, and that was all about bringing in love, and that we're still in that Venus transit. And I am not familiar at all with astrology, but I understand the concept. And you
I
had some thoughts
understand.
about it.
Well, I understand the concept as well, but I'm not an astrologer either. But I can reflect a little on that. I do think that did start a really, there was a lot of shifts even in my own life at that time. And then if we kind of just go through the timeline, 2012 kind of was the time when the Mandela effect kind of took place. That was a major shift in timelines. You can look that up if you're interested in learning more. And then as we moved into 2017, it seemed like another, what I've heard of as another astrological shift, another entrance into greater awareness, greater information being available. And then just in these last couple years, with all that's been going on and our continual shifts through many different things, and this kind of quote unquote ascension time, or quote unquote new earth time, or time of upgrading or lifting up into greater vibratory resonance, there's been a lot of shifts into love and into greater availability of love. And I would say that just really was a good entrance point, because before, we can all think back, we've all been moving into more love since that time. We're all getting more checked in, right, than we used to be, kind of thing. And love is still the answer. Love
sure
is it, baby. That's what we got to do. We got to love one another. And that's really the answer to everything. We think we make everything hard, but, it's just love the people around you, love what you're with, love the one you're with. All of that is the case, because if you do that, they'll either meet you where you are, or literally they disappear from your reality. Like you just love everything, and you're set free.
Yeah,
because
and
everything
unattached.
is you.
Right, and being unattached.
Unattached and amused as you are. Remember, in the game of Jumanji, in your own personal game, in your own avatar, moving through this game. And the only way out of Jumanji is to save Jumanji, right? Who saw the movie? Jumanji 2, if you haven't seen it. It's really fun. This is a fun movie.
I love the
silly.
first one. So.
It's a comedy. So the second one, I'm going off that one. It was kind of hilarious. The kid goes back into the game thinking he's going to be the strong guy again.
Yeah.
Well, he ends up in the Asian burglar lady. He's
no.
Oh man, I wanted to be like the strong guy.
The big guy.
It's like, what do I'm a burglar and I'm a thief. Oh, great. That's not what I wanted. So sometimes when you don't, it's not what you wanted, or you think, I want to have this, or that girl's got that, or he's got that. You got what you need. That's the bottom line. You got what you need. When we came in, what I do know about astrology, it's kind of like a map. When you come in, it's like your little template. Like, what am I working with? Oh, let's see. I got this, this, and this. Okay, I might run into this. It's giving you a little template.
Right. It's kind of a map. Just as to me, the environment we grow up in, that tells you something, that informs you about some things. Family, that informs you. Your name and numerology and the date you were born, that informs some things. So all of these things are like little bits of information, valuable information. And then it's like, well, what do we want to do with that?
So I think of all of that information as kind of involved in the tech of your humanity.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, but you are a soul, spirit, divine, co-creative God essence inside this tech of humanity.
Yes.
So it's just the part you're playing right now.
Right.
It's just because honestly, you could do anything. You're fabulous. You could do any pot. What do you want to be? Whatever you like.
Yeah.
So we all just picked something this time, and that goes back to kind of did they dole out what do you want to be? Oh, I'll do warrior princess. Oh, I'm going to be the
I'm going to be the janitor.
Yeah, I want to just clean houses or whatever. Not even a thing, but just like archetypes. That's not really that's more like a job. But things you want to experience. We're all learning lessons, validation, judgment. We're learning about understanding, learning about balance, learning about freedom. We're all learning something while we're here in this framework, right? So you pick kind of a gig, okay, I'll pick a part. You pick a role. And so you're playing out that role, playing out those things. This is your archetype, and this is the info about that gig that you're doing.
Right.
Is all that stuff. But you're just infinite, period. And you could really do it all. So it's just really honing in on going, oh, I'm infinite, and now I'm just playing this fun game, unattached and amused, because you know what? I'm kind of everything, but this is fun. I like being a radio show host. With like this is cool. Like this is enjoyable. I'm digging this fun reality. Like this is cool in my movie. Like just kidding. It's all just fun.
You know, it reminds me of somebody said to me years ago. I was kind of rebellious at certain points in my life of this how things are supposed to go, right? And they said, well, it's important that you learn the rules so that when you want to break the rules, you know what the rules are that you're breaking. So to me, that's kind of like looking at the map of who we are. It's like if I know as a Leo female born at this time in this family that these things are certain traits I might have, well, it doesn't mean I have to be those traits. It just informs me, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to be the leader at the front of the room anymore. I'm going to lead from the back, or I'm not going to lead for a while. It's just knowing those things help us. To me, it helps you decide what you want to do. And like you say, anything's possible. You can do anything you want. You can express however you want through this body. You can abuse the body. You can take care of the body. It's all up to each one of us what we want to do.
Right.
Every moment of every day.
Yeah, which is so cool, right? Because everyone gets free will. You're totally choosing. But the cool part, too, is we chose before we came in kind of what that gig is I'm going to do, because I'm such an infinite being, right? I had to kind of choose one coming in. I'm going to do that.
Yes.
I'll pick that template. All right. Because that's like the Jumanji game. You know, this time around, you're not the strong guy. I'm in that strong guy thing or whatever, right? You're in the other avatar. Enjoy it. We'll be out of the game soon.
Right. Honor where you are.
Honor whatever you're doing. Like, because that's just it. And God can be expressed through everything. Through everything we are here to express the infinite God connection, love that we inhabit in this form here and now, and calling back anything from anywhere else to this place so that you can then be here and now at all times, stepping into the moment with a widened viewpoint because you've kind of seen all the angles, you've allowed yourself to expand. So you're seeing things from a more holistic viewpoint, engaging the left and the right, coming into harmonic balance, which just really, why do we want to do this? Because it just feels good to be an activated divine human. You know, it's fun and enjoyable, and we are capable of great joy and great connection and great harmony, cooperation, and together we can vision that together as thank you for taking the time to listen to us and talk with us, because this is how we create that, right? Is by sharing with each other, by lifting everything up, and by choosing together to live in a world where we choose balance and harmony and cooperation, and we each commit to that ourselves, because if I commit to it and you commit to it, well, we're going to get there.
And I think, I know there are people that I have talked to over the years that do not believe that they chose anything. They feel like this was kind of a crapshoot, and they just wound up with this family and this body. And to me, really, in my truth, is that I chose all this. And with that comes responsibility, where if I didn't know that, then I might be a victim of something or someone. And I don't feel that I want to ever be that. Doesn't mean that someone can't be victimized, but that's all part of some role
Software.
And some experiences
Programming.
and and what you do, and having been around people who have gone through some big painful stuff. There's always that choice whether you're going to take that painful experience and help other people with it. Like this woman that was talking with Holly today in Tutu's Talk Stories, she had her own domestic violence experience, and she turned that into wanting to help other people and put out resources for people. So it's like you can do that, or you can turn to be the bitter, nasty, beat up your kids kind of person. It's we always have these choices every moment.
We do. We always have the choice when life gives us lemons, if we're going to make lemonade or sit with the lemons, right?
That's right.
How we're going to handle it.
Do you want to play this song? Because we got to go.
Yeah, so I wanted to say one last thing here, which was those people out there who are feeling like they're the black sheep of the family, or I wasn't born into the right family. Kind of a little reminder that a lot of those people are probably quote unquote starseed kind of people that kind of came in to help lift this earth grid. If you listen to us, this probably resonates with you already. So it would mean that you actually came in to help. We all did, right? We all came in to help lift this place up and to be lifted up by her, to share in the experience of unity and co-creative harmony. So to know that as you choose your greatest love and harmony, you help your entire DNA, you help transmute the energies that have been inverted from the past, and we move into greater harmony through the DNA, because as we said earlier, it is a spiritual thing, it is a holy thing, and it can be transmuted into light, and we can reverse all that has come before and kind of set it right as we move into balance. So we're going to play this cool song by a band I've loved for many, many, many years, Fertile Ground. They're like a DC band, jazz, like funky jazz band, called In the Moment, and it's just a nice tune, turn you on to some good music, Fertile Ground, and yes, be in the moment, give thanks and praise.
And we will not be here next month because Eila is traveling, so we'll be back in June for our next show. In the meantime, everyone, take good care.
And aloha.
Inside of time, but just outside of my space, I can feel the touch, a rush of sunshine warm across my face. So there's this place inside my nature where the plants grow natural, and I can stop the leaves from grooving, blooming out of control. Take it, dances at his wife.